Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our youth roll call class. It's the last Friday of the month, and it's dedicated to the future, the next generation, the one that's going to be next in line to lead the future coming up behind them. So we always have a class every last Friday of the month to, help push our children in the right direction. So if you have any youth, young adults, tag them, let them know to jump on this so that they can receive a word that I believe is going to help them. Tonight, I want to just share the 5 principles that have helped shape my life. It's also been a great reminder and a motivator for me to stay on course, to stay on track. Because as we know, as the days go by, man, we tend to get sidetracked. We get pushed to a place where we start being influenced by others and we follow people when we should be the ones that should be the ones leading. And that's why we stress the importance of jumping on these calls so that we can help encourage, our youth to be the leaders of tomorrow. It's so easy to fall in the trap of, what's trendy, what's hot or what everyone else likes to do. There's this thing that goes on in school, where we see people acting cool or acting like somebody that they're not. And it looks pretty fun, so we try to take on those characteristics and be somebody that we're not. That's the power of the influence that Satan, his demons, and sometimes not even just him, but just people in general have. And if we don't guard our hearts and protect what goes on, in our minds, then those thoughts, when it runs rampant, we don't know how to take care of those thoughts. Therefore, we find ourselves doing the same thing that all these other kids are doing. And that's why I feel like people should be principle-based. People should establish principles that's going to help keep you focused, keep you, straight, have your mind sharp. No matter if you see a group of people doing something and then it seems enticing to want to follow and do it too, you, the youth, you, the young adult, you got to fight hard to do what is right. One of the things growing up, when I'd ask my father a question, I tried to live according to the principles of God. I try to live according to the godly man that God called me to be. And so I didn't know how to do that. I asked a question to my father and I said, how do you live, a godly life, or how do you live a life according to God's will? And how do you live a life that makes God happy? And my father broke it down very simple. He said, son, as you go through your journey in life, as you carry on in life, it's not a matter of what you can do to make God happy, though it is, but it's not you trying to read all the scriptures in the Bible that's going to make God happy, though that is going to be beneficial for your life. But I like to narrow it down to 2 things that'll really help you move forward in life. And number 1 is that anytime you come across a decision that you're going to make, if that decision, before you make that decision, if the decision you're getting ready to make pleases God, then I would strongly advise you to make that choice. Any choice or decision that you make that pleases God is always going to bring something beneficial back for you. There's always something that comes in return, a blessing, an increase, favor, relationship, building, the list goes on. So if you make a decision in life and that decision pleases God, do the best you can to make that decision. Now, if you come across choices and decisions that you're getting ready to make and it does not please God or it displeases God, then don't do it. So here I am as a young youth, as a young, child trying to, live a godly life, how we all try to live perfectly and things like that. And then you have, my father, full of wisdom, who was able to impart into me something that I didn't really see coming. I thought I was going to get a revelation answer, an answer that was going to like blow my mind away. But instead, I got an answer that was very direct, very simple, and something that I use till this day. And that answer was, every decision you make, if it pleases God, do it. If you come across a decision that you're about to make and it displeases God or it does not please God, don't do it. And that's that information, that help that I got from my father has helped me all the way up until today. I believe that I could have gotten myself in a lot of trouble. I could have put myself in dangerous way many of times, but I believe that I've been relatively safe. I've been out of trouble. I haven't really ran into anything that's been detrimental to my life because of that, that principle that was instilled into me by my father. And so, to all the youth that are out there listening to me, I would reiterate and echo what my father had shared with me and say that every time you are about to come across making a decision, if it pleases God, then do it. If it does not please God, then don't do it. I believe people would live a more happy, joyful, stress-free or stress-minimal life based on just those two things right there. So whatever pleases God, go for it. Go after it. Pursue it. Have a passion to do it, because you're going to reap benefits. You're going to reap a reward that's going to make you happy. And then whatever makes you happy is going to ultimately connect to the family, and your family's going to be happy. And then all your friends are going to always want to be led by you, because they see that a lot of the decisions that you make don't put you, or doesn't get you in trouble, or doesn't put you in a position where, things are falling to the wayside. So that stuff right there has been very huge. It's made an impact on my life. I believe that, I'm not out here trying to look for, any trouble with any person, anything, or anyone because of those principles. And so these 5 principles have been established, since I was a young child growing up, and I want to help establish some principles that I believe if anyone dares to choose implementing these principles in their life, they will forever be set in stone, rooted to a point where they're going to always make an impact at first in your life, and then secondly, in any life that is connected to you. So when I share these principles, I pray and hope that everybody get an opportunity to, really challenge themselves to not only just be able to remember these principles, but actually establish yourself by working these principles. Okay, so these 5 principles are very huge in a person's life. No matter how young or how old you are, it'll help you forever. Okay, the number 1 principle that everybody should always understand and establish in their life is to love God. Love God. Number 1, you must love God. Love God. It seems so simple. It seems something like very easy, but in actuality, if God is first in your life, then nothing else is going to take the place of the one who belongs there. So God is number 1 in our life, and therefore, when he is first, we do everything we can to make him look good. How? Through the choices that we make. See, because good parents ain't good enough. Great parents ain't good enough. We can only hope and wish that when you, the youth, when you, the child, when you, the teenager, when you leave the house, we can only trust that you love the Lord so much that you don't need a parent or guardian, an older cousin, an older brother, an uncle, an auntie. You don't need those figures to be present with you in school, to be present with you in your individual sports. You wouldn't need it because you have a principle that has been ingrained in your heart, that you have taken it seriously, that loving the Lord is something that you're going to do, not in the sight and presence of family members or father, mother, uncle, auntie, brother, sister, but that you actually love the Lord with all of your heart. And because you love the Lord with all of your heart, you can be alone amongst a crowd of kids that wants to do things like skip class. Like if there's a place you shouldn't be while at school, and yet you feel like you need to be there, and then you make up stuff like, well, you know, even though we're not supposed to be here, they don't be worried about it. They don't be worried about it. They don't be tripping off that. You got it all twisted. You got it all wrong. You are going against and you are being defiant towards the school's rules and regulations. If they say you can't be at a certain place, or if you can't go outside of a campus because that's the school rule, then you have to understand loving the Lord is more than you just saying, I love the Lord. But loving the Lord is understanding that, okay, they say I can't leave the campus, but if I leave the campus, I see that no one's saying nothing to me. Okay, that's the enemy trying to get into your head to make you think irresponsibly and say, oh, nobody's saying nothing. Oh, nobody's tripping. I could be right here. No. The reason why you say you love the Lord is because you do everything you can to uphold that standard. That just because no one's saying nothing, just because no one's tripping off me being where I'm not supposed to be, I love the Lord so much I want to make him look good. Therefore, I understand that, yeah, maybe nobody did say anything by me leaving the campus. Maybe nobody said anything, or nobody is tripping by me leaving the campus. But the one time they do, that comes against the standard of you loving God, of you representing God, of you being a witness for God, of you shining your light for God. Therefore, we don't just go out of our way to say, I love the Lord. And that's the principle that I stand by. That's the principle that I honor God with. I put him first in my life, and I say, I love the Lord, my God. I love him so much that I take heed and obey elders, or I obey laws, or I obey instructions, rules, and regulations set by those who are in authority over my life. Excuse me. Who's in authority over my life? Those that are put in place like school teachers, campus securities, anybody that's, in a position to be an authority over you while at school, because you are now away from your parents. You are now away from, your guardian, whoever it is that's watching you. You are away. Therefore, as a representative, as someone who says they love the Lord, you got to uphold a standard. You see a group of kids leaving campus, and you know we're not supposed to leave campus. You know what? If you gave a suggestion to the kids, hey, let's stay here on campus because we're not supposed to leave campus. Now, if the kids say, no, I'm going off campus. Okay, well, let the kids go off campus and you stay your butt in the school where you belong, because it's not a matter of if the campus security trip or not. It's a matter of you representing God. You're a representative of not just yourself. You are a representative of God. So when you say you love the Lord, it's not enough to say I love the Lord. It's not enough to just have that principle established in your life, to just say that you love him. But it's important that you say that you love him and you show him. You show yourself and you show God that you love him, that you are willing to obey authority. You are willing to obey school rules, school laws, and school regulations. Now, what if you left campus and somebody drove by and knocked you over the head and brought you in a car and drove you off. Now what? Now what? Now what? Are we going to tell what are we going to tell your parents? What are we going to tell your guardians? What are we going to tell your family? Because you want to be there all bad. They don't be tripping anyway. They don't be watching. They don't care. Okay, but now what? Now you in the car. Now we got to post missing flyers of you all over the town, because you want to defy authority. See, it's more than just loving God because you know that God created you. It's loving God and backing him up. It's setting a standard to shine your light that even though you can, you won't, because you're going to obey authority. So number one is loving the Lord your God. You have to love God so much that even when the 99 goes that way and they're not supposed to, you, the one, will go where you're supposed to be, is stay your butt at school. Okay? So loving God as the number one principle is beyond what you say. It's exactly what you do. It's how you exemplify yourself, because people are watching. No one's ever going to see God in the flesh, but they will see God in the way that you are, in the way that you carry yourself. Therefore, the way you carry yourself, you got to make sure people are going to want to follow you because you are the example. Okay, so principle number one is love the Lord your God. Love him so much that you're going to represent him at the ultimate, at the apex of who you are. You don't need a parent. You don't need a brother to be around you to act right, but that you act right because it's who you are. It's you understanding that acting right is going to get you far in life. That following instructions is a matter of going as far as you can go. So from this point forward, anything that the school is requiring of you, it's important that you show God that you can follow it without trying to make up stuff. Okay? So knowing how to be under authority is very key. And how do you do that? Is you got to hold yourself to a standard. Okay? So you love God. Number two, the number two principle is that you must love your family. Love your family. Now, this is huge, everybody, and I want to park here for just a second, is because loving your family is more than just telling your brother that you love him. It's more than just telling your mother and your father that you love them. Loving your family is knowing and understanding that though it is great to have friends, but friends are every day, it is going to be family, though, that will be there in your most toughest times. Friends will be there every day, but it will be your family that will be there at the most toughest of times. You have to get that and register that in your head. Why should you register that in your head? Is because friends can also be boyfriend, girlfriend. And this is what happens. It's a huge trap. It's because you didn't grow up with your family all your life. And this family, your father, your mother, your grandparents, your uncles and aunties, this family fed you, changed your diaper, gave you the bottle, put you to sleep, woke you up, showered you, took care of you. Then you grew up from baby. You went from the diaper. Now you wearing, kids' underwears, and you go from kids' underwears and now you're wearing clothes. And now your parents are teaching you how to put on your clothes. They're teaching you how to brush your teeth. They're teaching you all these things. Isn't it amazing that you will have a family that would help bring you up as a little baby, drooling all over your clothes, slobbering all over your face, taking care of you as a boo-boo butt kid, and now you become a teenager and you run into what you call a friend. You run into what you call a friend. Never was there when you was a baby. Never was there when you was a kid. Now you're a teenager. He just or she just now entered into your life. And what happens is that if you lose the sight of loving your family, you start to put your whole trust in a person that has never been there. And so you start telling your family's business to that friend. You start putting your family down to that friend because you really think that that friend loves you more than your family. And so now you, girl, are head over heels over this handsome looking boy, and you give that handsome boy, you know, your number. You guys are texting each other. You guys are FaceTiming each other. You guys are over here holding hands at school. You kissing. You doing all of these things with a person you met for the first time. And you are starting to put trust in an individual that has spent less than a day, less than a week, month, and year. And you're giving that person everything you got over a family that's been with you your whole life. That's why you got to watch out for friends. Why is friends every day? Why should I watch out for my friends if you said friends every day, Alex? The reason why it's friends every day is because we're really with family every day. We just get tired of them. Therefore, we need a fresh start in our mind, so we think. And therefore, because we want to get away from our family that we're irritated by, we go find what you call a friend. And now that friend is fresh. That friend is new. That friend you don't see all the time. Therefore, your excitement is always up in the air because you always want to be with that friend because you barely see them. You can only see them when you get to school. And so the enemy starts to manipulate you and trick you into this form or this practice of thinking that your friend is more valuable than your family. Now, it was important that I walked you down your family changing your diaper, changing you, cleaning you, feeding you, changing you again, cleaning you again, and feeding you again, and then doing that thing over. It's important for me to mention that because I need you to realize and see that this person, like a friend, or this person that's called friend or boyfriend or girlfriend or someone that you think is cute, someone that you think is hot, and you want to give up your heart for this individual, and now you giving it up to this person, and therefore you walking around campus losing your mind over this friend. And when family trying to come in and interfere with that relationship or that friendship that you have with that friend, guess what? You start weighing out the balance of who you should be listening to. Ain't that crazy? We start looking at our friends. We look at our friends. Then we look at our family. Then we look at our friends. Then we look at our family. And we're like, my friends, man, love me way more than my family. My friends tell me all the nicest stuff. My friends tell me, man, they tell me this, man. My friends, man, they're there for me. They got my back. Well, what is getting your back? Because you tell me if your friend ever wiped your butt. You tell me if your friend ever put food on your table. You tell me if your friend ever bought you clothes. If your friend ever did these things for you. And see, that's where the enemy gets you. He gets you by placing people in your life that you start to be blinded and see them as more valuable than this special group called family. That's why principle number 2 is love your family, because loving your family is understanding that it was your family that was there from the beginning, not your friends. Stop putting your trust in all of your friends. Oh yeah, my friend love me, man. My friend, man, I need to go with my friend. I'm gonna run away from home. What you running away from home for? It's gonna be your family at hard times. I had to struggle with that growing up. I started putting trust in people that were friends just to come to find out that they were never my friends. They were only in my life to see what they can take from me. And then after they take from me, they just kick me to the side. They don't give a care about me. And then guess who was right there while you all beat it up, you over there crying, you done lost your mind, you almost lost your life, and guess who was right there to pick your crybaby, selfish, no thinking of the family self? Guess who's there? Your family. Your family gonna be right there to welcome you back, even though you was out there acting a fool. So loving your family is more than just saying, I love you, I love you, I love you. No, it's the same thing like loving God. You are a representative of your family. You are a representative of the teaching that your family has established for you to be a great person in the house, at your school, in your practice, whatever environment that you are in. See, all these kids, man, they running out here. You know, I was just helping out my best friend, Dr. Q. He is a doctor and runs a huge program, Wellness Warriors, there at Hillview Middle School. I was at that middle school. And boy, I'll tell you this, a lot has changed since I've been at school. You don't see nobody playing sports no more. You don't see nobody trying to play football no more. All I seen during this lunch, and this God is my witness, all I seen at lunch was girls talking to boys, boys talking to girls. I mean, middle school kids kissing up on each other, hugging up on each other. I seen, and I seen that when I was in school, but you know, when I was in school, it wasn't like out in the open. You know, these kids would have to like go, during my time, kids would try to find a hiding spot to go kiss their girlfriend, kiss them. Over here at this middle school nowadays, and they were lip locking, tongue locking. I mean, nobody even care about a future no more. Everybody care about how that boy look, how that girl look. Oh, look, oh, that girl look fine. Oh, look at that boy look fine. I mean, we had to stop three incidents of a girl having photos, naked photos of a boy, and that boy having naked photos of a girl, and both of them threatening each other to out each other to the school. You wonder why I'm giving these principles? It's because where there's no principles, a lot of abuse is going to be held in the life of a youngster like yourself. And that's why it's important that as much as you know, you got to understand that you still don't know a lot. There's still a lot to learn. There's a lot of wisdom out there that you need to go after, because if you don't get it, you're going to try to look for it in a person. And that person ain't going to be equipped to help guide you through these things. And so, you know, we go through all these things, and I'm witnessing all of that. And I'm trying to get all of you guys to understand that if you fall for the influence of the world, the patterns of this world, then you too will be a statistic. Teenage pregnancy, or a teen that gets pregnant over and over and over again, but you have multiple abortions. You see, girls have multiple abortions as teenagers nowadays because they can't refrain themselves from sex. I mean, these kids are having sex as young as elementary school. They're having oral sex, and they're having sex. They're having oral sex and sex in elementary school, middle school, high school. This is why it's important to establish principles in your life, because if you have no principles to stand by, you're literally going to be another statistic, like many kids have come to be one. So it's important that you establish loving the Lord your God, and then also number 2, loving your family, because if those two things are missing in a youth, in a child's life, then you are susceptible, or you are able, or you are more likely to find yourself putting everything in a person. So love your family. Your family are going to be the one there when all comes crashing down. Okay, these next 3 principles are important, and it's important that you get it into your system. And that's number 3, stay focused. Stay focused. You don't need to act like nobody you ain't. Like, if you're just a nice kid, be a nice kid. You ain't got to act like you a gangster. Because nice kids that try to portray themselves like a gangster remind me of that movie, Malibu's Most Wanted. You look like an idiot. You look like a clown. It is nothing gangster about you. It's nothing hard about you. If you just a nice, cool kid, be a nice, cool kid. Get good grades. Go out there and dominate in your sports. Work out. Do your thing. But you ain't got to act like nobody that you ain't. If you see girls that are loud and obnoxious and you want to be loud and obnoxious because you think that looks cool, it don't look cool. It looks very fast and it looks like you out of pocket. It looks like you came from a zoo. So you got to stay focused. If you have a family that has already established principles into your life, don't be going to school, try to live outside of those principles because you want to follow the trend of the crowd. Stay the heck focused. The only reason why men and women fail in life is because they lost focus. They have broken focus. It's like you once had focus, but then now it's broken. And anytime you try to look through a lens or you try to look through a magnifying glass and you see that there's a lot of focus involved, but try breaking the glass of the lens of the magnifying glass that you look through. If it's broken, even what you try to see, you can't. So you fail at wanting to see something that someone's trying to show you, but you have broken focus. So it's important for an individual to have focus in their life so that they can live happily. Those that stay focused always reap the reward because you are able to endure whatever process you are in, whether that process is school, training, practice, clubs that you are involved in at school, book reading clubs, whatever the list goes on. As long as you have focus, you will always reap a reward that's going to bring life to you. So stay focused. That's number 3. You got to love the Lord. Number 1, love your family. Number 2, stay focused. Number 3, this next one is huge. Number 4 is you got to stay in position. You got to stay in position. We were talking about when you're not supposed to leave campus and you be leaving campus still. That's out of position. Get your butt back into position. You got to get a revelation when you see a baseball game and the pitcher is on the mound ready to pitch. He's warm. He got a nice sweat going on, but the game cannot start. And everybody in the stadium is waiting for the game to start. And you got to get a revelation that that game will not and cannot start even if the pitcher is on the mound. First, second, third places where they're supposed to be. The outfielders are where they're supposed to be. But watch this. Until the catcher, one who receives the pitch from the pitcher, until that catcher squats and get himself into position, the game cannot start. See, you can go through a huge workout. 100-degree weather, you done ran some hills, you done lifted some weights, but you are thirsty. I don't care how thirsty you are. If you run to your water faucet and that water is running down, but you don't place that cup in position for the water to drop down into that cup, well, you're going to be a thirsty individual not being able to quench your thirst because you don't know what it's like to put yourself in position to win. You have to stay in position. That's why in everything you do, you got to ignore these distractions and you got to get out there and make sure you making it happen out there. You got to go to school for the exact reason why you went there. You got to go to school to take care of your work. Go to school and be in position, because if you're not in that seat and you're trying to play in your sport, and football is coming up for a lot of you kids, you trying to play football, but your butt wasn't in that seat, or your butt wasn't in position where the class is supposed to be, and you trying to, at the end of the semester, beg for a good grade, it don't work that way. You are out of position all semester, and now you get an F, and you see you can't play football no more, and now you want to get mad at the teacher. It's not the teacher's fault. It's you being out of position. That's your fault. So you have to be in position. Go to school. Stop missing school. Who do you think you are missing school? Who do you think you are cutting school? Who do you think you are just doing whatever you want to do? Get to school. And not only just go to school, but go to class and sit down in class getting ready to make it happen so that you can pass. Therefore, when that sport come up, you get to enjoy that sport because you know what it's like to be in position. Okay? The last one is number 5, is that everything comes to an end. Everything comes to an end. That's why all you kids, you guys are acting like you got a whole life to live. In actuality, life is shorter than you think. The Bible says that we are here but for a little bit of time. It says that life is like a vapor. Now, for those of you guys that got vapor machines to make the air, to purify the air, make the breathing, make your breathing much better, and to clear out the air, if you have one of those machines, just take a look at it. You'll see a vapor come up in the air, but as quick as that vapor has come out of that machine is as quick as that vapor has vanished. And the Bible relates life like a vapor. It says life is like a vapor. It appeareth for a little time and then it vanishes away. That's how life is. Like, I can still remember what my freshman year in high school was like. And my freshman year in high school, everyone, was 23 years ago. When I was a 9th grader in high school, that was 23 years ago. And at that time, I really did think I had a lot of time. I really did think that I was going to be in high school forever. I really thought I was going to be in high school forever. I really thought that. Well, fast forward 23 years later, I am now a 36-year-old young man. Because life is like a vapor. It appears for a little time and then boom, it vanishes away. So you need to be careful and manage your time wisely. Take advantage of the sports that are free to play. Because if you get to college and all of a sudden, now you're just taking classes at college and then now all of a sudden you want to play sports, well, it's going to be very difficult. Because now you ain't did nothing all through high school. You ain't got no experience. You ain't got none of that. And now you want to do it. It's going to be very hard for you to find some time to play because you don't know what you're doing. So you got to manage your time wisely. You got to be able to attack the day. You got to be able to attack your school. Man, take advantage of school while you're in there. Go get you a degree. Go get you a scholarship. Get you one, because everything comes to an end. Your middle school career, your elementary career for those that's in elementary, your high school career, it's all going to finish. And when it finishes, you're going to be two things, happy or sad. Now, you get to choose which one you want to be, but regardless of whatever it is, happy or sad, you only get to thank yourself. So you need to understand that principles are very important to have in your life, because without them, you begin to abuse this life. And that's why you see kids coming up in school, shooting up in Texas. Over 21 people died, 14 children, a teacher, multiple others. Come to find out that kid, shot other people in his family before dying himself. You got to be ready for this world. You got to be watchful. You got to look. You got to see your surroundings. You got to protect yourself. If you go to school with a sibling, you got to protect your sibling. Why? Because everything comes to an end. But don't let life come to an end and you had an opportunity to do something about it. Kids, don't be listening to adults that are trying to take guns away. No. It ain't the gun. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. What we need to do is we need to take care of our mind. Because the war is right here in the mind. And if you want to win the war, you got to win the mind. And if you want to have good thoughts, you got to win the mind. Because in this brain right here, over 60,000 thoughts are penetrating every day. That's why you can be a great kid and still do foolish things, because there are a lot of thoughts that are coming against you. And if you don't take care of those thoughts are going to run you over, and you're going to end up doing things you yourself didn't see yourself doing. So why is it important to establish principles? Because a person without it, abuse is inevitable. Or you abusing life is going to be present. That's why we see kids that are disrespectful. That's why we see kids that don't know how to act right, because they have no principles. They have no morals. They have little to no standards that were set in their life. To all the youth that are out there, take this thing seriously. Take your life into your own hands and go out there and live the life that God wants for you to live. God wants you to be blessed. God wants you to be successful. God wants you to have dominion. God wants you on the top. He wants you not only on the top, but even when you get to the top, he wants you to rise. He wants you to increase. He wants you to be the best. Well, I tell you this, you will not be the best if you don't know what it is like to love God, to love your family, to stay the heck focused, to stay in position. And lastly, understand that everything comes to an end. Anyone who chooses and dares to live by these principles, I in advance salute you and your successful journey that you are beginning starting tonight, because those principles will carry you forward to a successful life. And always remember, a man and a woman without principles established that's going to be beneficial to your life will always be an abuser of things. If you live life with no principles, you will always be an abuser of things. You will never be grateful. You will never be thankful. You will always complain. You will always whine. You will always cry, because you don't know how to live by principles. A man and a woman with no principles abuses everything. But someone who dares and chooses to live by these principles will forever be successful. I pray pray God's best over your life, his biggest blessings over your life, and the choices that you make from this point forward. Remember, I want to help you the way my Father helped me. If any choice you are getting ready to make pleases God, do it. This is the most best way I've been able to live my life, because my dad has helped me tremendously with these two things. If the decision you make in life pleases God, do it. If the decision in life you're getting ready to make does not please God, then fight hard not to do it. If you fight hard to use or to choose to make decisions that pleases God, you will see more greater days than not. I promise you that. God is a God of principles. Therefore, we need to be men and women of principles. Otherwise, we just be wrecking up everything. We're going to be abusing everything, and we're not even going to care that we did it. Okay? So set a standard and commit to it. And then I'll see you at the top, like my father always say, if you don't stop. I'll be seeing you next month. I can't wait to see all the breakthroughs from all of our youth. You guys are going to be a life-changing generation only if you choose to make it that way. If you want to sow a seed to the kingdom of God, you can do so. I'll have our media team set it in our comment section or pin it right here, and you'll be able to be a blessing to, I believe, a life-changing ministry that's going to help take people to the next level. God bless you guys. I love you guys so much. I'll see you on our youth roll call.